ما شاء الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. ما شاء الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه مباركا عليه كما يحب ربنا ويرضى وكما ينبغي لجلال وجهه وعظيم سلطانه، والصلاة والسلام على أسعد الخلق وخاتم الرسل محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه التابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. ثم أما بعد. The topic has to do with pluralism, and I was asked to contribute to that topic in two senses: the sense of the meaning of pluralism and whether it exists in Islam and how we can practice it, and the other sense that has to do with how can Muslims live in a pluralistic society given Islamophobia on the rise and so forth. The pluralism, or in Arabic would be ta'addudiyya, is not a Quranic concept. The Quranic concept is ikhtilaf, or usually addressed as tanawwu', as diversity. The Quranic concept has to do with that people are always diverse, and there will always be different religions and different colors and different languages and different opinions and different ways of doing things. The Quran is teaching us that diversity is one of the sunan, one of the major universal laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in creating us. And therefore, when we deal with pluralism, when we deal with multiple religions and multiple opinions and multiple levels of richness and knowledge and so forth, we should deal with diversity in a way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructed us to deal with in the Quran. First of all, diversity is natural and it will never change. It is not possible to make everybody have one opinion or everybody even have one religion. In fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught us that most people will not believe in Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَمَا أَكْثَرُ النَّاسِ وَلَوْ حَرَصْتَ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. In a number of verses, most people are not going to believe in Allah and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It doesn't mean that we do not call people to believe and call people to Islam, but we should take this as a fact and therefore deal with the diversity of religions as a fact. And some brothers and sisters don't like the word religions, and they say, well, there is only one religion, even though religions is a Quranic word. لَكُمْ دِينُكُمْ وَلِيَ دِينٌ. As you have in the description abstract of this lecture, you have your religion and I have my religion. So this is a religion and this is a religion. I do believe that my religion is the truth, that Allah is one and Muhammad is his messenger, and you have your beliefs. But the word religions is a Quranic word. And we have to refer to the Quran, my brothers and sisters, in any debate in order to keep our Islamic ground. Because in this time when there are so much variety of opinions and so many waves and so many methodologies and thoughts that are trying to take us in different directions, we have to maintain a solid ground in the Quranic expressions and the Quranic terminology. So diversity, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about it, He is asking us subhanahu wa ta'ala to balance the diversity. So yes, there is diversity between the rich and the poor, but Islam has an objective to balance the rich and the poor in the society. There is a diversity in colors. Islam has an objective in balancing these colors, referring to the human dignity. The Prophet ﷺ said, there is no color better than another color. لا فضل لأسود على أبيض ولا أبيض على أحمر. A red person is not better than a white person, or a black person is not better than a white person. إلا بالتقوى والعمل الصالح, except for doing good deeds. And therefore, I think that it is very important for Muslims to take the role of trying to contribute to the society to balance its diversity. The American society, for this context here, is a very diverse society, and it has so much variety of religions and colors and social and economic statuses and all of that. And Muslims have a responsibility to balance these diversities and to participate in the movements and in the societies and in the organizations that are supposed to be aiming at balancing these diversities. We are so far, and this is linked to the objective of Islamophobia that we would like to talk about, we are so far talking about the Islamic issues only as Muslim issues. And we do not see the diversity outside the Islamic community, or the Muslim community. We do not look at the bigger picture of the country where we're living in and trying to see how we can contribute to that country. And if the question is how can Muslims maintain their existence and their safety and their future in a diverse society like that, where there is Islamophobia, the answer would be for Muslims to be part of the movements that contribute to the reform of the society and the betterment of the society and the balance of the society. And these are, in today's terms, called social justice movements, in the sense that we Muslims have a responsibility to contribute and actually to guide social justice movements in our societies, because this is what Islam is about. The Islamic issues are not only the issues of wudu and halal food and the right to wear your Islamic dress in whatever you want to wear and cover your aura, etc. These are Islamic issues, but these are not the only Islamic issues. Islamic issues include, and in fact, before these issues, they include feeding the hungry and giving to the poor and allowing somebody who does not have health coverage to get health coverage, to be medicated, curing the sick, helping the needy, elevating the status of a depressed person or an addict, or all of these issues that are the issues of the wider society are Islamic issues, issues of the social welfare of the society. And these issues have priority in Islam over the other issues, the smaller issues that we deal with, that oftentimes take all our energy and all our effort, but they isolate us because we are dealing with smaller issues in the society and we're not addressing the bigger ailments and illnesses in the society. We have an example in the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called for two things: for اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره, worship Allah only, and then another thing that has to do with a social ill in the society. اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره يا قوم أوفوا المكيال والميزان. So you are people who are cheating in your trade and your business, so do that. اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره ولا تعثوا في الأرض مفسدين. You are people who are pirates, you go out, and in the old societies, every society had a social illness that every prophet had put as a second priority after La ilaha illallah. So اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره, and we have to better the society, we have to reform the society. And this is not an easy task. We have to be able to criticize the status quo, and if you feel that the status quo is fine and comfortable, then probably you are living for your own self only, because the status quo is not fine and is not comfortable for many, many people, whether they are economically advantaged or economically disadvantaged. And Muslims, believers, have a mission after calling people for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one, to better the society and to look and understand and comprehend the ailments in the society and contribute to the resolution of these ailments in the society. And if we do not do that, then we are betraying our societies from an Islamic perspective. We are not giving back to the society properly, because we have to be the moral voice of the society. People now worship the dollar for the most part, and some of them have other religions that they give priority, but this is the minority. And we have a mission to take people from the worship of the dollar to the worship of Allah, or at least to bettering the society, to become a more human society, a more balanced diversity, a more justice-based society. Islamophobia is not a major problem. I think it is a small problem if we put it in the right context. The right context is that people are acting against us this way because we are in isolation, and this is very dangerous. But if we are not in isolation, if we take a responsibility with the rest of the society in terms of being part of the good side of the society that's trying to better the society, then Islamophobia will diminish to become a very small problem, to become perhaps the other side of the coin of extremism in Islam, which is also a very small minority. You see, Islamophobes and extremists are two sides of the same coin. They both believe that Islam is a violent religion that doesn't believe in human dignity and oppresses women and doesn't believe in education and diversity. The same view is the view of the Islamophobes and the extremists. Islamophobes and extremists are a minority, and a small minority, but they will be able to galvanize the majority or a good part of the majority or some powers in the majority if we do not act strategically, if we do not act ethically and morally, and address the ailments of the societies as they are, and get out of our little circle of the Islamic concerns or the Muslim concerns of doing certain Muslim acts of worship into the wider society problems that are the Islamic problems that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had sent this ummah to deal with. This ummah is not sent only to live comfortably and pray and be modest and be fine and be isolated. This ummah is sent as a witness over mankind. And as my sister said, I'm involved in a number of educational projects in different parts of the world. And wherever I go in the world, I see a need for Muslims to adjust themselves, to be part of the mainstream struggle towards justice and towards rights. And it is very important, otherwise we lose. My sister said, I teach in South Africa, and Muslims had been part, most of you would know the anti-apartheid struggle in South Africa. Muslims were part of that. And they went to prison with the leaders of the struggle against the apartheid. And that is why, post-apartheid, Muslims now in South Africa have a very strong community. And they are part of the society, and they shape the law as much as they want. And they object to certain things they don't agree with in the law, and the law changes for them, even though they are 3% of the society. But they proved to be part of the moral voice of the society. And they were willing to sacrifice when sacrifice time came. And they went to prison with Mandela and so forth. And they took the whole thing in order for the society to move beyond injustices towards a just society. In different parts of the world, when Muslims take part of the struggles of the society, the moral struggles of the society, they become part of the mainstream. And then their voices are heard. And no funny Islamophobe could hurt them. But Islamophobia is acting upon our weaknesses and our not being part of the mainstream struggle. Islamophobia is not new. Is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about in the Quran about the Pharaoh. إن فرعون علا في الأرض وجعل أهلها شيعا يستضعف طائفة منهم. This is the pharaonic way since the beginning of time. The Pharaoh, the verse says, raised himself in the land by fragmenting his people, dividing them into factions, and choosing one of them to be the weakest link, to translate in modern English. So basically, Pharaoh of the time made the children of Israel of the time the scapegoat of the society, and the other of the society, and the strange part of the society, and the terrorists of the society. And therefore, he started to deal with them in a way in order to raise himself in the land, the verse says. Because it is, that's how politics is, divide and conquer, the British said.
This is how politics is every time, where people are divided and the weakest of the factions and the weakest of the groups is chosen in order for the pharaoh to rise. This is normal tyranny politics that the Quran is teaching us. And if we understand that, we should not be like the children of Israel during the time of the pharaoh. The children of Israel were isolated during the time of the pharaoh. They were ghettoizing themselves. And that's why the pharaoh was able to target them and was able to send all of these hashirin, all of these speakers all over the land to tell people that these are criminals and we are so scared of them and we should kill them all and so forth. The Quran is telling us. And everybody believed, even though people, were decent people, just normal farmers who lived in the land. But they believed because the children of Israel of the time were isolated. The Quran is giving us this lesson so we learn from it. And we don't isolate ourselves like the children of Israel of the time of the Pharaoh and allow pharaohs in modern times to make themselves pharaohs. But if we are mainstream moral voice, we might struggle a little bit, but this is the mission of Islam, and this is what we should do for Islam. And this is how we can balance the diversity in the society. The society is diverse economically, and every society is diverse economically, but there are major injustices economically in this society that we have to deal with. The society, and any society, is diverse socially and politically, but there are major injustices politically that are happening here, and certain colors, blacks particularly, that are oppressed in this part of the world, and we have to be that voice. The natives issue is an Islamic issue. The black issue is an Islamic issue. The poverty issue is an Islamic issue. And this is what Islam is about. Islam is not for us to live comfortably in the middle class cocoon, but to live really the issues of the society and try to contribute to elevate the society. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us, and I hope that this gives some direction, and perhaps then in the Q&A we can discuss perhaps more detailed issues. And thank you very much for inviting me here. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.